I'm a beta, but I have a super beautiful omega partner. Not only is he tall, but he has long legs, and his fox eyes look very charming when he looks at people coldly. I just have a bad temper and am always angry. But it doesn't matter, my goal is just to get him into bed. Finally, with my unremitting service every day, I succeeded in coaxing him into my arms. As soon as he climbed onto the bed, the beauty turned over and took the initiative. No, isn't he an omega? How come he is stronger than me? Leonard was angry again. Because I have other alpha pheromones on me. But as a beta, I can't smell it at all. With a cold face, he stripped off all my clothes and pulled me into the bathroom. The water from the shower was still cold. I shivered and begged Leonard to help me. I'm sorry, baby. I really didn't notice. There are only alphas in school. I guess I accidentally bumped into you. Leonard didn't reply, he just turned me around. The warm hands wiped over my body along the water droplets, and the goosebumps on my body gradually changed their meaning. Baby! I groaned and turned to look at him. The light in the bathroom was bright, illuminating Leonard completely. The beautiful face is cold as ice, but it has a unique charm. I raised my hand and touched Leonard's shirt buttons. Would you like to take a shower together, baby? Leonard narrowed his eyes and let me do what I wanted. I was ecstatic. Can I eat it today? He moved faster and unbuttoned Leonard's clothes in a few seconds, revealing his fair skin. Just looking at those two pectoral muscles, I was stunned for a moment. How can an omega have pectoral muscles? No. I shook my head. Maybe it was because my breasts were too big. After confirming my idea, I became lustful and grabbed it. So, I knew it. How could an omega have pectoral muscles? I pinched her and said temptingly, baby, tonight we. Before I could finish my words, someone held my paw down. He curved his lips slightly, which completely mesmerized me. Just as I pouted my lips to ask for some affection, Leonard grabbed my vitals with his other hand, completely ignoring its spirited state. The charming red lips uttered cold words. If you do it again, I will destroy you. Oh my God. It's so exciting. I like it so much. I lay on the bed wrapped in a bath towel, my heart pounding. The way Leonard threatened people just now was so cute. The possessiveness is too strong. Hee, but isn't this a sign that you like me? I turned over with excitement. Leonard is still in the bathroom, scrubbing me clean before washing himself. It's also strange that he has never let me see his naked body. Maybe I'm a little shy. As an omega, I understand. Actually, Leonard and I have only been dating for a little over a month, so it might be a little too fast for him. I am the only beta who has been single for 26 years and has made a living by doing it myself. I was particularly anxious. It was like fate that Leonard and I met. 3 months ago, a friend who heard that I was still a virgin warmly invited me to a bar for a romantic encounter, saying that I would gain something special. I was free and bored at the time, so I thought it would be nice to go out and have some fun. As a result, as soon as I entered the bar, I was almost blinded by the lights. The people inside were in pairs, biting each other's lips, or even taking turns. As someone who studied medicine for 6 years and is now appointed as a physician at the Union Military Academy, all I see is a mouth full of germs. This is too unhygienic. I lost interest instantly. Helplessly, my friend said that since we were already here, it would be okay to have a drink, and he dragged me in. I had no choice but to sit at the bar, occasionally rejecting 3 or 2 omegas who were seduced by the mixed pheromones and had red faces and lustful eyes. You ask why omega is looking for me? What a joke. Even though I'm a beta, I'm 1.8 meters tall. She has a nice face and a great body, and is very popular among omegas. Okay. After rejecting a little boy again, I drank and chatted with my friends, looking away all the time. I really want to leave. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the back, and then someone started screaming. I looked over and saw a group of people standing in a circle with a person standing in the middle. It's just that the light is too dim and I can't see the person's face clearly, but from the blurry profile I can tell that he should be quite good-looking. My friend who just came back from the toilet immediately started gossiping. It is said that someone got drunk and touched an omega's butt and was slashed. So exciting? I squinted to see more clearly. The next second, the lights in the bar came on. I saw clearly the Omega who was surrounded by the group. Her slightly curly hair was tucked behind her ears, and her face was as beautiful as an angel from Western mythology. He lowered his head slightly, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and his eyes were contemptuous and cold. At his feet was an alpha who was kneeling on the ground, covering his head and yelling. Bang! I felt like my heart was hit hard. Angel! I couldn't help but murmur. Friend, what did you say? I pointed at the Omega in the crowd and said without hesitation, I'm going to chase him. Friend. As for me, the thing I've been praised for the most since I was a child is my intelligence. How could I give up such a good opportunity to be a hero and save the beauty? I rushed forward immediately, helped the beauty solve his troubles and successfully sent him home. Just like that, I got to know Leonard. After 2 months of my daily concern and greetings, buying him breakfast and giving him gifts, and being a bootlicker, he finally agreed to be with me. I wanted to set off fireworks to celebrate that day. But I didn't expect that in this fast food era, Leonard is so conservative. After I hinted and made it clear many times, he still had that look on his face, saying, I don't understand what you're saying, and even if I did understand, I wouldn't pay any attention to me. That would be fine, but he still likes to tease me and make me suffer a lot. I did more manual work this month than in the entire first half of my life. It makes me feel very weak now. But he is my Omega, so what can I do? I can only pamper him. Leonard took nearly an hour to shower before coming out of the bathroom. She exudes heat all over her body and is white and beautiful. I lay on the bed, dragging my head and laughing at my aunt. Hey, this is my Omega. Baby! I waved to him. The collar of Leonard's bathrobe was open, revealing a half shadow as he moved. He glanced at me and brushed his wet hair. I immediately jumped up like a puppy. Baby! Let me help you blow it. Leonard's mother is a foreigner. He was born with his mother's hair color and slightly curly hair. But he doesn't like to blow dry his hair, so he just hangs it up after taking a shower. This is a bad habit. I mentioned it twice, but he didn't want to hear it, so I did it myself. Gradually, Leonard seemed to like this feeling. Every time he looked at me with his wet hair, he was urging me to blow him. The hairdryer hummed, and the hot air passed through my fingers, drying the moisture on my hair. Golden like wheat in autumn. It looks really good. You don't need to pick me up starting tomorrow. Leonard lowered his head to play with his phone and suddenly spoke. The warmth in my heart was instantly blown away. What does this mean? Are you going to dump me? Because of my pheromones? I immediately threw away the hairdryer, walked over to Leonard in 2 or 3 steps, and knelt down. Baby, please don't leave me, I won't do it next time. As I said this, I felt so aggrieved that tears were about to fall. Such a handsome Omega, and I haven't kissed him enough. Why did you dump me? Don't I lick enough? Why are you crying? Leonard lifted my chin, looked at my aggrieved eyes, and suddenly laughed. The smile on her already beautiful face made me stop crying. Leonard twirled my chin with his fingers. I didn't say I was leaving. I'm busy with work for the next 2 days and don't have time. That's good. That's good. I put away my snot bubbles. Sure enough, what they say on the internet is right. As long as you cry well, the baby will not run away. Leonard and I haven't seen each other for almost 5 days. He is always busy with work, and he says so every time I contact him. Although we were still chatting enthusiastically on the phone. But I want to kiss. I want to kiss that pretty soft mouth. Moreover, I am now worried that he wants to take this opportunity to dump me, while at the same time comforting myself that this is not possible. Just after getting off work that day, I received a call from my good friend Marvin. Let's go out and have fun. I heard your baby isn't around lately, so it's a good opportunity to go to the bar and have a couple of drinks. I was not interested. No, I already have a lover, I won't go to that kind of place. What? You haven't eaten yet? This sounds like someone is just greedy for my body, so I choose to ignore it. Marvin laughed twice. Okay, I won't say any more, little licker. Come out for a drink with me, I'll give you some advice. Who cares? I hung up the phone without caring about it and quickly rushed to the address Marvin sent me. When I got there, I found out that it was a bar. You look so chaste. I'm afraid if I take you to a place like last time, you'll feel itchy all over. Marvin said this and ordered me a low-proof drink. You are worthy of being my best friend since childhood, you understand me. I patted his shoulder and took a sip of the wine. Marvin is a good person except that he is a bit gossipy. You said you haven't seen your baby for a week, why don't you go find him? I have looked for him. I lowered my head. He hasn't come home in the past few days. Go to his workplace? I lowered my head even lower. Marvin was surprised. You don't know where he works yet? I nodded painfully. Actually, I think I know Leonard well enough. He doesn't like cilantro, doesn't like long car rides, is a bit of a germaphobe, basically only wears his clothes once, and seems to be very rich. But I don't seem to know anything about him. I don't know what his job is, what he's been busy with these days, or what his pheromones smell like. It seemed that he never took the initiative to tell me about his own affairs. I figured them out bit by bit during the time we spent together. Thinking of this, I felt even sadder. Marvin patted my shoulder and said, "Be strong, little licker. Even though he may not love you, he is definitely trying to hook you." Puff. My heart was stabbed hard. Don't say that. I stretched out my hand and tried to comfort myself. What's wrong with licking a dog? Licking a dog, licking a dog, licking to the end. I have everything. 7. Deeply hurt by Marvin's words, I picked up the glass and drank it all. Then he took out his cell phone and harassed Leonard. Baby, are you off work? Baby, can't we meet today? I missed you, baby. I missed you so much. My heart is pounding when I think of you. Baby, do you want to listen? There was no response at all. I cried silently. It's over, he doesn't even reply to my messages anymore. Before he could even scream, Marvin slapped him in the face. Brother, please, don't embarrass me in public. I swallowed the bitterness and tears, waved my hand, and ordered 2 more glasses of wine. Okay, stop crying. Marvin suddenly lowered his voice. Didn't I say I would give you some advice? Here you go. A small medicine bottle was pressed into my palm. This. Marvin pointed to the small medicine bottle. That's it. Marvin gave a thumbs up. I just had 2 drinks and I'm still a little dizzy. What is it? It's just to liven things up. Marvin said angrily, give him 1 and it will work for sure. I sobered up immediately, I was so scared. Who do you think I am? I threw the medicine back. I'm a doctor, not a beast. Seeing this, Marvin didn't force it into his mouth. He shrugged and took the medicine back. I knew he was a bad idea, and my interest was instantly lost. After drinking the rest of the wine on the table, I patted my butt and prepared to leave. It just seemed like I drank a little too much, and my head was getting more dizzy. Finally, Marvin took a deep breath helplessly and resigned himself to helping me walk out. I half closed my eyes as Marvin half dragged and half hugged me out. Just as he was about to reach the door, Marvin suddenly stopped. Harold. Marvin called my name. I tried to open my eyes. Marvin pointed. Your baby seems to be cheating on me. Thanks, I'm sober now. This is my first time catching someone cheating. I tried to open my eyes wide and look in the direction Marvin pointed. Not far from the door, Leonard was standing against the wall with a frown on his face. There was a group of people surrounding him, and they were obviously stinky and hard alphas. He leaned forward and said something to Leonard, saliva spurting everywhere. How is this cheating? My baby is being surrounded and teased. I stood up instantly and rushed over there. Hey, calm down. Marvin followed closely behind. At the last moment, Marvin pulled me back. Don't get excited, kid. Let's listen to what they are saying first. Marvin covered my mouth and took me to the side. No matter what, your lover lied, right? Marvin said earnestly, we can sit here. They can't see us. We can also eavesdrop and see what your baby is doing in the bar alone. It seems to be roaring too. After hearing what Marvin said, I calmed down a little and was pulled by Marvin to hide in a corner. It was a bit noisy in the bar, but it was quiet outside. Perhaps to give us an opportunity to eavesdrop, there were no cars on the road. The sound of conversation came clearly into my ears. Leonard, I haven't seen you out these days. Leonard has found a new way to have fun. Someone asked, what's the fun? There's just a beta who's attracted to Leonard's face. She's been pestering him every day, which is really annoying. Leonard is now playing around. Why go through so much trouble to just find someone to beat him up? It's not that Leonard is boring, but that beta is pretty good looking and has a good figure. It must be very comfortable to sleep with her. Is beta referring to me? Leonard is annoying me? Before I could figure it out, I heard a bang. Then there was the sound of broken glass falling to the ground. Leonard said nothing, just picked up the empty bottle at the door of the bar and opened it again. Marvin next to him swallowed. Harold, how about we change our lover? It is said that alcohol can slow down the brain. But I still understood it instantly. Leonard is annoyed with me, hates me, and even agrees to my pursuit just for fun. My heart ached. But when I saw Leonard was angry, I couldn't help but stand up. Baby! I walked over in 2 or 3 steps, thinking about what they just said, and changed my name. Leonard, don't be angry. I took the broken bottle out of Leonard's hand despite his gloomy expression. This is the first time I see Leonard look so bad. But I can't care now. I have to show it to the person whose head is bleeding first. Although I really don't want to bother with this idiot who can't even spit out ivory from his dog's mouth. But it would be bad if someone died with blood all over his head. After making sure that no artery was injured, I got a towel from the bar and bandaged it urgently, then called a taxi for them to go to the hospital. When I looked back, Marvin had disappeared, and only Leonard was staring at me with a dark look in his eyes. Although he is sober now, his mind is still very confused. My throat was dry and I couldn't utter a word. After holding it in for a long time, he only said, Leonard, let me take you home first. Leonard didn't say anything, but his eyes followed me. The dark eyes seemed to be staring at prey. It seems a little abnormal. I was a little worried, so I walked up and touched his forehead. A little hot. You have a fever, Leonard. The mood doesn't seem right. It's a bit like the alpha's susceptible period. No, Leonard is an omega, how could he be in a susceptible period? I guess it's because I have a fever and I'm in a bad mood. Go back, Leonard. I hailed a taxi for him on the side of the road. Go home and have a good rest. I tried not to look Leonard in the eye. But I couldn't help it. After all, this might be the last time we meet. I'm sad, I'm upset. But I won't tell. Because what they said before was true. I'm so annoyed. I have to pester Leonard every day and tell him all the trivial things. It's normal for Leonard to dislike me. He let me kiss him and touch him. I have already taken a huge advantage. I should learn my lesson. The car door opened and Leonard slowly walked towards me. As we passed each other, I blinked hard, trying to hold back the tears. Just one night, my baby is gone. Ooh. I cried silently. Just then someone grabbed my waist. The next second I was sitting in the car. The hand on his waist continued to tighten, and Leonard said hoarsely, Master, let's go to the park. I opened my mouth to ask, but turned around and saw Leonard had his eyes closed. He took back what he had said. Leonard looked very uncomfortable, so let him rest for a while. My home is not far away, it only takes about 10 minutes to get there. As soon as the car stopped, Leonard opened his eyes. The hand on my waist loosened and I rolled out of the car as if I had been pardoned. Leonard followed closely behind me, paid the fare, and took me home without saying a word. The fingerprint unlocking system at home worked the first time Leonard came. Opened the door, closed the door, all in one go. Seeing Leonard was about to throw me onto the bed, I finally came to my senses and struggled to get away. What is this for? Leonard's face was gloomy, his eyes were murderous, and he repeated my words in a hoarse and cold voice. What? Leonard squeezed my wrist painfully with one hand and used his other hand to strip off my clothes. Oh, how can such a beautiful omega be so strong? Fortunately, I am not a pushover and I managed to shake him off. Leonard, are you crazy? I rubbed my aching wrist, trying to calm Leonard down. You treat me like a dog and I'm not angry yet. You turned your face away first. I was about to open my mouth when Leonard spoke first, his tone gritting his teeth. Harold, I doubt whether you really like me. This question made me laugh. I licked you so much, and you treated me like a dog and I didn't say anything, but you still don't like it. You actually question me like this. Before I could refute, Leonard continued, you didn't ask me a single question just now. Are you planning to let me go home and dump me? Etc. Shouldn't you be the one dumping me? You're really good, Harold. Leonard walked closer and closer, and stopped when he was one step away from me. He raised one hand, revealing a small medicine bottle in his palm. Isn't this the medicine Marvin gave me? Why are you here? And it looks like he just took it out of my pocket. Marvin! You are dead. No, why are you thinking about Marvin now? The person in front of me looks like he is going to explode. He wouldn't think of me as some scum who could be drugged at random, right? No. I shook my head hurriedly. But Leonard interrupted my explanation. His tone was cold, yet a little aggrieved. Harold, you just want to sleep with me. It's over, it's completely inexplicable. 11. Leonard's aura is so intimidating. He spoke in a sarcastic tone and didn't listen to my explanation at all. It's like he suddenly became a different person. I started to feel aggrieved. What do you mean I just want to sleep with him? Well, little bit. But I like him too. I serve him every day just like I serve my ancestors, and I'm not a masochist. Why would I do so much if I don't like him? Leonard's words were too aggressive. I was so angry that my heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys started to ache. My brain suddenly twitched and I also lost my temper, stiffening my neck and yelling. So what? Aren't you treating me like a dog? As soon as the words were spoken, the air suddenly became quiet. Although the lights were on in the room, I suddenly felt a little dim and my whole body was cold. Dog! Leonard suddenly laughed, eerily. Even his breathing became heavier. A sneer appeared on his lips. Okay, since you think so, then I will grant your wish. After saying that, Leonard unscrewed the vial and poured the liquid into his mouth. Then there was the crunching sound of pills, and Leonard came closer. It's over. Leonard was so angry that he swallowed the pills dry. Just like chewing jelly beans. The next second, Leonard grabbed my collar and we both rolled onto the bed. You? Calm down. My voice began to tremble. Although I am the one who is suppressing Leonard now. But his current aura is too scary. This is 100 times more terrifying than the last time I had alpha pheromones on my body. Leonard held my waist tightly with both hands and licked the corner of my lips with his rosy tongue, rolling up the white medicine foam. In the past, I would have been fascinated by this scene. Now my hands are shaking like sieves and I dare not look carefully at all. What? You don't dare? Don't you just want to have sex with me? Leonard looked at my useless look and mocked me. It excites me again. Leonard tonight is very different from before. It almost makes me recognize him again. He just took advantage of the fact that I like him and feel sorry for him and used specific words to irritate me. My heart aches so much and I feel wronged and sad. I wish I could lock Leonard up and kiss his mouth so hard that he can never say such trash talk again. I was just sad for only 2 seconds. The moment Leonard's hand reached into my clothes. It suddenly dawned on me. Why be sad? Now the beauty is throwing herself into your arms. Who cares if he treats me as a dog or a cat? Even being a maggot is fine. Just think of it as a breakup. I raised my head and said, I dare. Why don't I dare? I dare to do something fucking earth-shattering. I suddenly realized what was going on and immediately started taking off my clothes, stripping Leonard completely naked as well. But I was so overwhelmed with joy that I didn't notice it at all. A strange fragrance suddenly filled the air. After I smeared Leonard's body with saliva, I was ready to take it a step further. The hand on the waist suddenly exerted force. Haven't reacted yet. Leonard and I turned around. The suppressed panting slowly came closer to his ear. At this moment, Leonard was extremely tempting. Now it's my turn. When I woke up again, it was already afternoon. I was the only one left on the bed. I vaguely remember that Leonard was called away by a phone call. Before leaving, he kissed me gently and told me to wait for him to come back. After a crazy night, I recovered. Wait, Something seems wrong. Let me think about it. I lay on the bed. My mind was empty. I thought about it carefully. I remember it. Last night I seemed to be given, by Leonard. No wonder my butt hurts so much. My baby gave me. No, it's not just that. In this situation, it seems that Leonard is not an omega at all. He is an alpha. So last night was his susceptible period? It all makes sense. Damn it. I banged the bed and nearly sprained my back. Leonard lied to me. That doesn't seem right. He never said he was an omega. It's Marvin. It is said that someone got drunk and touched an omega's butt and was slashed. These are Marvin's words. I want to cry but I have no tears. I want to cry but I have no tears. My beautiful baby is gone just like that. It hurts. It hurts so much. It hurts everywhere. I took out my fully charged cell phone and turned it on, and countless calls popped up. I first found Marvin's WeChat. Greeted him politely. Then I asked for 2 days off from school. Leonard really went crazy last night and now feels like his bones are about to fall apart. If I don't rest for 2 days, I'm afraid I'll lose my life. But I don't dare to stay in this house any longer. I dare not even see Leonard. So I covered my butt and ran away. Fortunately, I escaped to the old house, but my parents were not there. They all work in the military hospital and rarely come back. It's just convenient for me to take a rest. I fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up from a full sleep, my stomach started growling. I looked at the time and it was already 10 o'clock. I picked up the phone and saw several missed calls from Leonard. When I saw the word baby in the remarks, my heart trembled. My mind automatically thinks of what happened last night. Come to think of it, it is quite comfortable. Just as I was about to let my mind wander, my stomach started to protest. Forget it, I'll just order some takeout first. I'll starve to death if I don't eat. While waiting for the takeaway, I checked WeChat. In addition to Marvin's countless question marks, Leonard also sent a few messages. Where did you go? Have a good rest, I will come to see you tomorrow. Look at the words on the screen. The conflict from last night, which I had been deliberately ignoring, suddenly came to my mind. Leonard's words last night were harsh, and mine weren't much better. Although in the end both parties were subdued by sleep. And judging from Leonard's look, he has no intention of breaking up. If it were last night, I would definitely be very happy. After all, who would be willing to let go of such a beautiful baby? But now when I imagine my future with Leonard, I couldn't help but feel my legs shaking. I really can't bear it. Not knowing how to respond to Leonard, I chose to exit the message page. Today's brain cells are almost dead, I'll fight again tomorrow. 15. I had just filled my stomach when bad news came. I have a cousin who is studying at the Union Military Academy. I usually hide it from him and cover up for him. As luck would have it, there was a huge thunderstorm tonight. I heard that Alpha injected him with an inducer and he has been sent to the hospital. After hanging up the phone, I endured the pain all over my body and took a taxi. When we arrived at the hospital, my cousin was still unconscious and there was a man sitting next to him. Well, it looks like there's nothing for me to do. I found a doctor and asked about the situation. He said there was no problem and he just needed to rest well. After reporting to my uncle and aunt that I was safe, I found a place to sit down with trembling legs. He rubbed his waist with a grimace in his teeth and was poked twice on the shoulder. Hello. A not quite standard Mandarin voice came from the side. When I turned around, I saw a beautiful sister with blonde hair and blue eyes. I immediately pulled my hand back. What's the matter? The beautiful sister took out her cell phone with a smile and opened the memo. Above is the address of a ward in an inpatient building. Can you tell me how to get there? I glanced at the address and gave her directions. The beautiful sister smiled at me and thanked me again. Thank you. How can you praise a man for being cute? I suspect there is something wrong with this beautiful sister's eyes. I could only smile awkwardly and nod. However, as I looked at the beautiful sister's back getting farther and farther away, I always felt that she looked a little familiar. I see. Doesn't this look a lot like Leonard? Maybe all foreigners look like this? Without thinking any more, I packed up and prepared to go home. I felt like this was only adding insult to injury. But before he stood up, a pair of long legs appeared in front of him. Look up. It was Leonard in a hospital gown. 16. Leonard had messy hair and a pale face. It was obvious that he had just crawled out of the hospital bed, successfully transformed from a beauty into a sick beauty. But he was full of energy last night. Why did he become like this today? I subconsciously asked with a distressed look. Why are you here? Are you feeling unwell? Leonard and I spoke at the same time. And quiet at the same time. Finally, I was the first to speak. My cousin is sick, I came to see him. Leonard knew my cousin and they had met once. After hearing what I said, Leonard frowned slightly and his eyes fell on my hands on my waist. Noticing his gaze, I let go awkwardly. His eyes began to wander. The next second, I was attracted by a touch of blood red. Looking closely, I saw a small pool of blood on the ground. Tick-tock. Another drop. When I looked up, I saw a long blood stain on Leonard's hanging hand. Blood continued to drip down along the trace. I don't care about whether my waist hurts or not. I stood up instantly and took Leonard's hand. Fortunately, it was not a serious injury. The infusion needle was pulled out and the blood vessel was not pressed. The hand I held was still cold, and I felt so distressed when I saw the needle holes still bleeding. Why are you out here when you're sick? I opened my mouth to call the nurse, but Leonard stopped me. I'm fine. Is this okay? It's all in a puddle. I was so nervous that I almost spun around, when suddenly someone handed me a ball of cotton. I immediately took it and pressed the bleeding wound for Leonard. I also didn't forget to say, thank you, to the kind person next to me. You're welcome. A familiar voice sounded. I turned my head and saw it was the beautiful sister I had just seen. 17. After entering Leonard's ward and settling him down, I finally understood why Leonard was hospitalized. Yesterday was the last day of his susceptible period, and he took another bottle of medicine in one go. It was a sign of his luck that he could last the whole night. Not long after I went out in the morning, I fainted due to nosebleed. After I tucked Leonard into bed, I finally had time to look back at the pretty sister who had been following me all the way. Noticing my gaze, the beautiful sister smiled and said, "Hello, little cutie," and said I was cute. I touched my handsome face. Isn't that right? Is it that foreigners have different aesthetic tastes from ours? Sister. Leonard called out in a low voice with a warning tone. The beautiful sister shrugged. Since you are not dead yet, I will leave. After saying that, he winked at me and said, "See you next time, little cutie." It made me a little shy. But before the tip of his ear turned red, someone pinched it. I was shivering from the cold. Leonard gently rubbed my earlobe, kneading it repeatedly while speaking. The tone was flat and without ups and downs, but it made people feel cold. Does it look good? I shook my head subconsciously, and my 2-month-long licking nature came out. Baby, you are the prettiest. Perhaps my compliments pleased Leonard, and the cold air around us dissipated a lot. Leonard let go of my earlobe, held my waist and moved me directly to the hospital bed. I was so scared that I panicked. This is in the hospital. Go to sleep. Leonard's words dispelled the impropriety in my head. Even in a single room, the specially made bed is not very big and 2 people have to lie close together. Leonard pressed me into his arms, and his warm body temperature mixed with my clothes. A big hand was also rubbing my waist. A familiar smell entered my nose and I secretly raised my eyes. Leonard looks quite handsome from this angle. I really can't hate this face. The decision made in the afternoon is now beginning to waver. And it is crumbling. In fact, the but doesn't seem to be very important. At least, not as important as Leonard. Just as I was trying to blame myself, Leonard suddenly said, "I'm sorry." Huh. I looked up in confusion. Leonard pushed my head back down. "I'm sorry for what I did to you yesterday." Leonard continued, "Some of what they said was true. At first, I was annoyed by you." Don't say such things at such a warm time. Even if I'm a bootlicker, I can't bear it, okay? I wanted to sit up, but my waist was pressed tightly. Just listen to me. Leonard interrupted me. But I won't agree to be with you just for fun. I like you, Harold. I like you to be around me every day. I like you to have my eyes full of me. Leonard lowered his head slightly, his eyes falling on my lips. Without any hesitation, he kissed her. His lips were a little cold, but his tongue was hot. It was so hot that I had trouble breathing. Hearing me gasping for breath, Leonard backed out. He smiled and said, "I also like the way you try to sleep with me every day." I came back to my senses instantly after being kissed. No, I still need to explain this. Although I really want to, I'm not that dirty to drug you or anything like that. I know. Leonard pecked me on the mouth again. I lost control of my emotions yesterday. I won't do that again next time. That's what I said. I took the opportunity to hug his waist and buried myself in his arms. This is also good, I was happy for only 2 seconds, and then I suddenly remembered something. I looked up and asked Leonard, "You were susceptible yesterday. Why did you go to the bar? Didn't you say you missed me?" Leonard answered without hesitation. Come to think of it, I did send a message. Well, I lay down again. But something always feels wrong. However, seeing how handsome he is and how much he has explained, I'll just bear with it for a while. Who told me to be a face-obsessed bootlicker? At worst, just be nicer to your but later. It was a month later when I saw Marvin again. After Leonard and I expressed our feelings to each other, he stayed in the hospital for 2 days and then moved into my house. And he strictly forbade me to go to the bar with Marvin again. I said, how could I go there when I have a baby? I wish I could stick with Leonard all day long. But in just 1 month, I changed my mind. The main reason is that my body can't take it anymore. Leonard's food is delicious, I didn't get tired of it, but I was full. I'm still young, I'm only 26, I don't want to take medicine to keep healthy. Sitting slumped in the infirmary, my eyes were dull and blank. Fortunately, the infirmary is not very busy, so I can take a break. The phone dinged, it was a message from Leonard. I'll pick you up after get off work. These 6 simple words made me shiver. Finally, I gritted my teeth and lied, I have to work overtime tonight, you go home first. After waiting for a long time in fear, the other party finally responded with a good response. Finally, I have half a day off. Just then, Marvin sent me a message asking me to have dinner with him, and I agreed because I wanted to relax a little. I didn't dare to make an appointment too far away, so I found a restaurant near the school. Mainly because I am afraid of Leonard's surprise inspection. Having a meal is like having an affair, it's useless. As soon as we ordered the food, Marvin made a sarcastic remark. I haven't talked about you yet. How come you disappeared when I turned around in the bar that time? I poured myself a glass of water and asked angrily. Marvin's eyes wandered. The look in your lover's eyes, anyone who glared at him would die. My head is also made of flesh. You can't just abandon me and run away. After blaming Marvin for more than 10 minutes, we finally stopped talking when the food was almost served. We chatted about some gossip, and before I had even taken 2 bites of the meal, my phone rang. I picked it up and saw that it was indeed Leonard. I answered the call immediately. Baby, what's wrong? Where are you? I'm at school. I have one more thing to do. I'll be home soon. Really? Leonard asked in a calm tone. Is it delicious? I immediately pricked up my ears and my eyes rolled towards the restaurant. I was about to breathe a sigh of relief when I didn't see any familiar figures. Then I heard Leonard on the other end of the phone utter 2 words. Turn back. I was wrong. I was wrong. I apologized and tried to hold my pants back. Coming out of the restaurant, Leonard's face didn't look very good. I tried to coax her all the way, using all sorts of tricks, but nothing worked. Baby, please don't be angry, I'm just having a simple meal. Leonard raised his hands and took off his clothes first, revealing his white and sexy muscles. She was beautiful and charming, but her tone was cold. Eat? You're lying to me about eating? I'm not. He was trying to explain in a hurry, but his hands were not careful and were immediately stripped clean. My tears have dried up and my voice has become hoarse. Leonard finally stopped. The next day, I reviewed the whole thing. Successfully found a locator in the phone. After looking at it for a while, I put it back. It's better to install it on your phone, it's better than anywhere else. The first time I kissed Leonard was a month after we were together. I had planned to take him out to see a movie that day. The cinema was not far from his house. When we were halfway there, it suddenly started to rain heavily. We were soaked to the skin and went to his house. That was my first time entering his house. The house is big, but with simple decoration, it looks cool and deserted. After taking a shower, I suggested watching a movie at home to liven up the atmosphere. Leonard didn't refuse and just found a high-scoring old movie. The two of them sat on the sofa and there was no one else in the room. My mind wasn't on the movie at all. So I moved and finally put Leonard on it. Just when I was immersed in the joy of being intimate with Leonard, the sound of kissing suddenly came from the TV. I looked up. Oh, it's a romance movie. My heart started beating wildly. The right time, the right place, and the right people. I stole a glance at Leonard. Leonard was focused on the TV and didn't move. I reached out and hooked his finger. Leonard turned his head. What's wrong? I swallowed nervously, my face turned red, and I finally asked, Baby, can I kiss you? Then he took out his signature aggrieved puppy eyes. Leonard's eyes moved around my face, and finally he gave me a slight glance. I knew it. I pounced right away. Bo. I put it on and it felt soft. Satisfied, I withdrew. As soon as he raised his head, Leonard grabbed it. Leonard's eyes were dark and unclear, and he sneered, What a waste. The next second, I felt a heat on my lips, and my mouth was pried open. Leonard kissed me fiercely and urgently, as if he wanted to eat my tongue. I don't know how long it was before Leonard came out. Her rosy lips were shining with water, making her look like an alluring fairy. I smacked my slightly swollen lips and stared at him excitedly. You are so spicy, I like it. Leonard was pleased with my eyes. You want more? I nodded vigorously. Leonard reached out to wipe the water stains off my mouth and said with a slight smile, Then try harder next time. And now, looking at the red marks all over my body. I don't want to work hard at all. Not at all.